Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk you through 10 of my most anticipated releases for January, February and March. So I have hunted through Goodreads and Amazon and looked through the authors that I am interested in to see if they had new books coming out, and I made a list of ones that I found that were coming out in January, February and March. And a lot of these are continuations in series that I'm in the middle of, as well as a few starts of series. It made me realise when I was doing this, because I split my page up into equal chunks of January, February, March, that a lot of books are coming out in February that I'm interested in. I don't know what's going on in February and what's going on with the rest of the year, but it's all February so far. So to start us off, in January, we have A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Richard Kemmerer. This is the third book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series. I have read the first two books and really enjoyed them. These are fairy tale retellings. The first one follows our main character Harper as she gets transported from Washington to this magical world, and it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It has great representation of cerebral palsy, and then in the second book it's a continuation but with perspectives of different characters. And then this third and final book is coming out in January. And then I don't have anything else until February. I don't know what happened to the rest of January, but I couldn't find anything else that I was too keen on. So in February there are many books that I am anticipating. I think the one that I am anticipating the most is A Court of Silver Flame by Sarah J Maas. And this is in some ways the fourth book, in some ways the first book. So it's in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So A Court of Thorns and Roses is a completed trilogy, and this is a continuation in the same world, following different characters from that first trilogy. And it's going to be another separate trilogy. I am so excited for this. I mean, I love everything Sarah J Maas, and I will drop everything to read whatever she puts out. And I will be picking that book up as soon as it is released. Like release day, I will be there, hopefully at the bookstore, or I'll have it delivered. It will be in my hands and consumed straight away because I just love that series so much. So excited to see how she develops the world. I'm currently rereading Akamath and it's just getting me so excited for this release. Archive of the Forgotten by AJ Hackwith. I believe this is already released in the States, but it is not. It is coming out in February here in the UK, and this is the second book in the Library of the Unwritten series. Yet again, I really enjoyed the first book, so definitely keen to continue with the second book in the series. In this world, all books that haven't been finished go into a library in hell, where it is the librarian's job to make sure that the characters within these stories don't come to life, to try and get back to their author and try and persuade their author to keep going with their work. So so the librarian is constantly telling these characters, like, no, get back into your book. Yeah, it's not your time. And I mean, all these characters are like, we want to have our story, we want to be written, and they can't. And so you're following her as a character has escaped, and she is trying to put the character back into their book. And then there's like another subplot following the like the devil has written a book, and there's like the agents of heaven and hell are both seeking this book and claiming it as their own. Oh, I loved it so much, and I really hope the second book lives up to my expectations. I mentioned this book in my fantasy magical libraries video. I just love that setting. It's just the perfect setting for me. I have Reaper of Souls, which is also coming out in February by Rena Barron. I read and enjoyed the first book in the series, so yet again a second book that I would like to keep going with that series. And this follows our main character, and she is from a family of witch doctors, and every year she's like 16, and every year she's hoping that her powers will come into fruition because her family is so rich in powers, and each year she doesn't claim her powers don't manifest. And she's just trying to deal with this and like come to terms with that maybe she won't have magic, but she seriously wants it. And in this world there's an evil coming, and she knows that she wants to be able to stop it. She wants to be able to combat this evil, and so she is resorting to other magics, which one of them is where you trade your life for magic, trade the years of your life. So she ends up doing this in order to try and save the world. But I then have, again, this book is out in America, and that is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. And beautifully bookish Bethany has been raving about this book, and she says it's written in the same style as The Starless Sea, and I love The Starless Sea, so that was an automatic like sign me up for this book. And she said the plot isn't the same, that it's more of like a gothic plot and it's set in a different timelines where you have like a murder that happened many years ago. You then have a TV crew which is filming these events as a dramatization, and then how creepy things are still continuing to happen, and it's supposedly quite lyrically written. And so I was like, okay, yes, I like the sound of that plot, that all sounds really cool. I like when you have different weaving threads that all come together. I like whimsical writing styles, so it all sounds perfect. I will link her review down below of that because she really sold it to me, and the way she said that it was like The Starless Sea, I was like, perfect for me. So I'm really anticipating that coming out in February. Another February release, so many in February, is Beneath the Keep by Erica Johansson. And Erica Johansson wrote the Queen of the Tearling series, which I really enjoyed quite a few years ago now. I read the whole trilogy and it's seriously good. And so this is a new, I believe it's a standalone. It didn't say very much on it on Goodreads, set in that world. I've just looked into the plot a little bit more. And so this seems to be set in a world, it's set, I guess, in the future of that Tearling world, where everything's falling apart a little bit, that there is a big divide between the rich and the poor. There's a famine, there's unrest, there's like I suppose there's rumours of a prophecy. It seems to be that it's following three main protagonists. You have Lazarus, who is raised to kill. You have a farm girl who must figure out what her role is in the rebellion. You have the crown princess, and she's torn between her duty to the throne and people that are seeking radical change. And then there is a like nefarious witch and a shadow master, which is like an evil coming into the world. And I guess all these threads combine somehow as they fight for a better world. I was like, this just sounds so cool. Like I love a multiple perspective fantasy story. I really enjoyed the Tearling series when it came out, so I can see myself loving this. And then the final book in February is The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. I don't think I'll be able to get to this in February because I need to reread the whole series before I get to it and actually read the third book. But this is the fourth book in the Bone Season series, and I loved the Bone Season when I read it a few years ago, so I'm down to reread it. And I think it's been a long time coming, this fourth book. There's been a big gap between her releases. So the Bone Season is about a world where if you have magic, then you are condemned to death. And at the start of the book, our main character, who is a clairvoyant and has powers, she is discovered and is subjected to death, and then things sort of progress a bit differently from what she expected. So I believe this is a 7-book series, so this is going to be the fourth book in the series, and I'm very keen to like catch up with the series and then be up to date with it. And then in March we have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Last Hours series. I really enjoyed, what was it called? I really enjoyed Chain of Gold, which I read this year. It's the second book in that series, which follows the children of the characters from the Infernal Devices. It's set in the Shadowhunter world. I won't say it's like a literary masterpiece, but I've always really enjoyed these books as like a nice, fun YA series. And I really like Cassandra Clare's characters and the way they interact. And there's a lot of characters in this world, and yeah, I'm very keen just to see like how it develops. The first book left off on a pretty major cliffhanger, so I'm very interested to see like how that all develops. We also have coming out in March Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the King of Scars duology, which is a book in the Grishaverse. I am very keen to get to this and finish the series. I really enjoy Leigh Bardugo's work in the Grishaverse. I find it's really fun and engaging, and in this book you're following some of the characters that are from the original Shadow and Bone trilogy, as well as a character from Six of Crows, and it's just following them in the aftermath of both of those books, so you have to read both of them before you get to King of Scars. But I've really enjoyed it, and the twist at the end of King of Scars was mind-blowing, so I'm very keen to see like how that progresses. And then the final book that I am anticipating in March is The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst, but this is her newest release and it's a standalone epic fantasy. So it seems to be set in this world where there's been an epic battle and now you're following these aging warriors many years later as they have a second chance to defeat the dark magic and avenge the past. And it seems to be that 25 years ago, 5 heroes risked their lives to defeat the Bone Maker, a corrupt magician. He created an inhuman army using animal bones. And so, but victory came at a tragic price and not everyone survived. And so one of the characters is trying to resurrect her dead husband, but this type of magic is banned in that world and it comes at a price that for every year that her husband will live, she will live a year less. To do this magic, she has to have one of his bones, and so she's going to have to go back to the battlefield where they had this epic battle and get one of his bones. And then it says, but maybe the dead don't rest in peace. 5 warriors, one broken, one gone soft, one pursuing a simple life, one stuck in the past and one who should be dead. Their story should have been finished, but evil doesn't stop just because someone once said the end. And that sounds so good, like thinking about that the epic battle is done, but actually life continues and you need to still keep going and maybe there is more to come. So I thought that sounded really cool. So those are 10 of the releases that I'm really anticipating for the first 3 months of 2021. Please let me know what you're anticipating in 2021, at least in the first 3 months, because granted I will have missed releases here because there's probably so many other books that have coming out and you'll mention something, I'll be like, oh my god, how did I forget that book? Because there's always books that are coming out that I'm like, oh, where did that appear from? Oh, that sounds really cool. Oh, why have I not heard of this book? I hope I've been able to highlight some books for you and your TBRs for next year. Please like, comment and subscribe and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!